not to be blinded by rage.
But let me ask you not to be consumed by rage, because what makes the difference between a civilized society and a terrorist group is the respect for human life.
Prime Minister, are you comfortable with do you believe that rage is a big motivating factor here? And are you comfortable with the proportion of death that is happening in Gaza right now?
Look, rage is very natural kind of instinct in human beings, and in a way, it's a result of evolution and need to survive in tougher environments. At the same time, I repeat what I have said, that boiling blood is not a good kind of guide for strategic purposes. And the other voices I have heard from just means that old people give clever advice to the younger ones. But having said that, I should tell you that we are acting, doing our best. We feel fully committed to international law, fully committed to this principle of proportionality. We are doing our best. We once and again warn every place that we are going to attack. And I recommend to all of us to look to the causal chain of what causes the death of people. On the Israeli side, the slaughtering were done by these barbarian terrorists. On the Gazan side, it was done by them, by the same terrorists in a different way. They put a gun to the temple of these civilians and blocked them from moving to the safe place at the southern side of the Gaza Strip. As a result of it, they held them as a human shield, deliberately, being fully aware of what they are doing, and I don't see a way to relieve them from the responsibility of this loss of life. We cannot afford to give an impunity to the Hamas just by allowing them to have their own people at a handgun to protect them.
So then let me ask you this. I know that's the position of the government. Can you tell me then how one can justify the position of the current government and the current Prime Minister, who, as we know from open source material, reports, his own words, in fact, you tell me because you were there, how did he have a strategy for Hamas in Gaza? You tell us.
Look, I said once and again, I can repeat it here in English, but I say it also in Hebrew. Netanyahu had a grave mistake about the strategy. Well, some 5 years ago, some people will tell you more than 5 years ago, he shaped a strategy as he defined it. Whoever wants to make sure that we can block any possibility of a two-state solution has to support my position of keeping the Hamas strengthened and kicking and alive. He was even ready to bribe them with protection money that came in cash from Qatar, and to weaken the Palestinian Authority rather than the other way around. And I belong to about half of the public in Israel who believe that the two-state solution is the only viable solution in the long term. It's probably not, once again, the right time, because two people are still motivated by the instinct of rage and the boiling blood. But it become, we strongly believe that that's the only viable option, not because of justice for the Palestinians, which is not my highest priority, but it's a justifiable one for them. It's because of the compelling imperative for us, Israelis, in order to protect our own security, our own future, our own identity, that we need to have this two-state solution. And I strongly believe that a line could be delineated within the Promised Land, within which we will have 80% of the settlers and all our strategic interests, and will spread on a single-digit number of percents of the overall area of the West Bank. to live side by side with a demilitarized but viable Palestinian state that controls both this part of the Gaza Strip and this part of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And we need it for our own future. But it's not a secret that a little bit more than half of the Israeli public feel that the great vision is one state. I think that it's disaster, but we are a democratic state, so we have to convince them, not to coerce them. And that's a big challenge, especially following October 7, when some people are motivated by the event to go even to be more extreme in demanding revenge, and some of them think that there is no way to survive in the Middle East unless you adopt these barbarian rules. And of course, that's only a slim minority. But basically, it's not easy to convince after October 7th the Israeli public that the two-state solution still remains the only viable one on the long range.